Hey kids! Welcome back to another episode of Things I Eat It podcast. Yet another one. We're incorrigible. Today our guest is Paul Shanrock of Stampede Cocktail Club and until recently Dreamland, yeah?
Correct.
And soon to be a new bar, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. How's your week so far, Paul?
It's been good. This is the cleanest I've been in, I feel like, 4 months. I'm just been doing drywall and painting and building and stuff. So yeah, I've been covered in paint.
You're about to get filthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the day's just starting. You have lots of time to get dirty again. Jeff, how are you doing?
I too am clean. About the cleanest I've been in the past 24 hours.
Isn't that a Depeche Mode song? Now I'm clean, the cleanest I've been. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's like, okay, I was going to say, I don't know much about them, but if it isn't, it sounds like something like AI would make as a Depeche Mode song. Anyway, I'm great. I'm super excited Paul's here. Anybody who hasn't listened to this show or doesn't know anything about me or Paul, we know each other quite well, so this is going to be great, and I'm excited to get into it because I'm sure we have a ton to talk about.
Because you worked at Stampede, but not Dreamland, right?
I worked at Dreamland for a minute, like, quote unquote, just during the pandemic when we were all, like, that's just when, like, I was physically working in the building, but it had nothing to do with, like, normal Dreamland operations.
You were just in the building secretly, like a ghost. You're in between the walls, like,
I mean, we were all just shells of ourselves then, so I guess, yeah, that's correct.
When did Dreamland open? I'm sorry, this is sort of an aside, but I'm trying to remember.
Dreamland opened in
2022?
No, 2020.
2020. Famously. You're like, how could I forget?
I signed the papers like 4 weeks before the pandemic. And then there was a couple moments where I was just like crying in public and the landlords were like, "Do you want to give the keys back?" And I was like, "No." And
I built this fantasy.
I know. So
literally.
Dreamland was crazy.
I keep wanting to talk about things in the middle here, but do you want to start, Jeff? You're saying you want to start in Reno because Paul's from Reno, yeah?
Yeah, I want to go way back. I want to see how far Paul wants to go into his origin story for sure.
Okay.
Well, really quickly, I want to talk about the interview that Jeff, me and you did for Stampede. I was out. It was summer, and it was the first 2-3 months of Stampede being open, right?
Oh, you mean when you and I met?
Yeah.
Oh no, this is part of my lore too. I moved here the day the bar opens.
Yes.
Like I wasn't living in Fremont yet, or like I wasn't in Seattle, but I technically I moved up here on the 1st of May in 2018, which I believe is the first day that Stampede was open. And I eventually made my way. I went to Rumba, and John Fry was behind the bar, and I was basically just like, "Yo, can I work at Rumba?" And he was like, "No." But my friend Paul just opened up a bar in Fremont, and I was like, okay, cool, where's that? So then I just literally went over to you, I think literally right after, and then that's when we met.
And Paul was like, okay.
We had our interview, and this is back when I was doing the liquid intelligence, making ice blocks in a big igloo cooler. So I'm on the porch chopping up this igloo cooler with a kitchen knife, and we're having our interview, and I look down, and a dumpling had fallen into the water, and we froze a single dumpling into this big brick of ice. And I'm looking at him, and I go, "I'm just going to cut this out and keep going. Do you have a problem with that?" And Jeff was like, "No, dude." And I'm like, "Okay, you're hired."
That's terrible.
It was dumpling infused. It was like a tincture.
So whoever got cocktails in that first month,
it was. So first of all, it was a veggie dumpling, so nobody feels like they were really betrayed.
Right.
We're telling the story now. It was definitely a veggie dumpling, and also that's just a little bit of umami. It was telling because I ended up putting a ton of savory shit on your menu in the years to come. So
that is true.
It was foreshadowing.
That is true. Talking about Reno. I mean, Reno's a crazy place. I feel like everybody who comes from Reno is crazy.
That's your hometown?
Yes, it is my hometown. And I think that what I went through and what's kind of happening now have similar parallels. I'm a high school dropout, but I was supposed to be class of 2006. And by 18, 19, it was the Great Recession. And so I strung together some like, some part-time delivery pizza work. Like I was a pizza boy for a long time. One time I went out on a delivery and the guy I was delivering pizza to, he had a heart attack and I gave him CPR, and it's like, that day I left a pizza boy, but I definitely came back a pizza man,
That's the name of the episode already. Came back a pizza man. I'm writing that down. Excuse me.
See, I knew you had some of these in the chamber. Like,
He absolutely does.
I wasn't familiar with the origin story, but that's not the first time that I've heard you say that you left a pizza boy and came back a pizza.
The thing is, if you have it in the chamber, he still made it land. Like it still worked. It's still fired. So well done.
I'm not, and I don't want to interrupt the story, but I'm not even trying to say that that's like a bad thing. I just think that like that's like the kind of, like when you're a bar owner like you are and just like a bartender and everything, like there has to be something like kind of legendary about you to truly be like great at it. And I feel like part of being legendary is like just having those things where it's like, oh yeah, like that's a thing he says. This guy's crazy, Like,
I think I'm definitely gonna roll out some OG jokes.
So you were in a newly minted pizza man when
for sure. No, so my whole deal is, I was 29 when I opened Stampede, and the reason why I could do that is my father passed away and he left me $100,000. And I feel like whenever you're talking about how people get to own bars or do stuff, especially at a younger age, I've always been fully transparent about it. For me, what was crazy was I never knew him, my father, and I know that he didn't really like me, and towards what I didn't know at the time was the end of his life, I was calling him, trying to get back into his life and try to know this guy. And finally around 25 he calls me up, or I call him up, and he goes, yeah, come on down. And we finally saw each other man to man, and I was so excited to like have my dad back. And he was living in California, I was living in Reno. I drove back to Reno. The next week I get a phone call that he passed away. So like the last thing he said to me was like, next month we'll go to the races in Monterey and we'll do this stuff. So then all of a sudden at 25, so that was brutal and a tough year, but all of a sudden at 25 I had $100,000, and I was just like, a pizza boy that was enjoying partying in Reno and having no direction. So I knew I had this X factor and I wanted to monetize it, and I couldn't even get a job as a bar back in Reno. And I had a friend up here, and she let me couch surf at her place, and I started out I knew that I wanted to use that money to open a bar when I moved up here at 25. So my first job ever was at the Matador in West Seattle, and I wrote on the resume, I want to be a bartender, and they hired me, and I learned a bunch of stuff, and I won a Maestro Dobel tequila competition, and I got sent to Mexico as the winner of that as a barback still. Like, it was a bartender competition, but I won as a barback. And that's got a crazy story to it. But so I held on to...
Your life is already amazing. Wow. Like, you just amazed me.
Yeah. So, and then I did all the bartender stuff. I worked at Rocco's. I did a handful of things. And I kept on going like, I know I want to open this bar. But then by the time I was roughly 29, 28, I had been kind of a bar manager, really didn't know what I was doing. And I had been let go from a position I had kind of just got. I don't think anybody really knew what they were doing. And I was sitting on my couch, and I remember I brought a friend up from Reno, and I had trained him how to bartend. And he was going off to work, and I'd be like sitting on the couch. And I remember being like, if I just had... Because at this point, it's been 5 years, so I've spent some of that money. And I remember telling him, I'm just like, if I just had $50,000 more, I could open this bar that I want to open. I just need $50,000 more. And I kid you not, like the next couple days, a check came in the mail, and we had missed an account of my father's, and there was a $50,000 check. Swear to God.
Holy fucking shit.
That was like a sign. Yeah, it's crazy. So then I was like secret shopping Fremont, because I lived in Fremont the whole entire time. The first cocktail I ever had was at the Back Door in Fremont. My friends brought me down my first night in Seattle, 2016, and we went and we sat at Jason's bar, and I had the Italian Stallion, and I had like my first real cocktail, and it blew me away, and we had so much fun. And I'd always lived in Fremont and worked at other parts of the city, so I knew that I wanted to put my bar in Fremont. So I was looking around, and there was a bar called The Helm, and it was like mysteriously shuttered, and I cold called the owner, and I was just like, hey man, are you selling? And so he sold for what he thought was low, and I bought it for what I thought was way too high. And God bless all my friends came down, and we just like spent the next like 3 months like putting up ceiling tiles and doing wallpaper, and we opened Stampede. Yeah, and I would sit out there on like Wednesday nights when we were opening it, and I'd be like, all right, is anybody gonna come to this shit? Like, we're way down here at the far end of Fremont, like, and yeah, that first night we did $4,000 in $10 cocktails and $7 dumplings. People were puking.
Wow.
It's insane. So that was
it was amazing. It was great. They were puking everywhere.
Amazing. So that's kind of my origin story. And then yeah, Stampede was doing really great. This was before the pandemic, where like I was still basically the primary bartender before the pandemic, give or take a couple months, because Jeff, you were there, and other people. But like, you could come into Stampede on a Tuesday night at like 1 a.m. and it would be going nuts. It was so much fun. Mm-hmm. We had so much, it was just like a rocket ship. So then we were like, yeah, we'll do Dreamland. We can, whatever. We can do anything. And we signed the papers for Dreamland, and the pandemic hit, like right then in 2020.
Yeah.
I spent 5 years in Dreamland, and it was so amazing. I'm so proud of what we did over there. But it was just tough going through all the motions, and I feel like I've blacked out a lot of like the crazy parts, just temping people's foreheads and all that stuff.
Right.
And then I just recently sold to a gentleman named Marcus, and he's wonderful, and I'm the only person that left. Everybody stayed. Everybody kept their job, and I'm opening a new bar, which is going to be open very soon, June 4th. And it's going to be called Twist of Fate, and it's going to be like a modern medieval gothic dive bar. I'm really proud of it. It's going to be super fun. And we're doing it because it's in the old Outlander Brewery spot, so it's like 5 doors down from Stampede. And
great. My cousin worked there for 1,000 years. Cool.
Oh, nice.
Paul just painted it purple.
It's all purple.
It's all purple.
Wow.
We broke down all the walls in there, and we spanned so the bar room is huge now, and I pushed out we did a lot of stuff, so it looks completely different.
Oh shit!
But we're doing it because the mission statement for Twist is that cocktails are too expensive for people right now. Speaking of me being like growing up in the recession, if you put yourself in the shoes of a 22-year-old, 25-year-old, it's like 2 cocktails right now in Seattle with tip is like $50. Who's gonna? Yeah. That's kind of unattainable. That's a little crazy. And I want it's twofold. I want to bring the price point down, and I want people to just have more connection. And I think not having servers and not having table service encourages people to stand up, meander around, interact with the space. Of course, I'm gonna, I'm building it very cinematically. There's gonna be lots of like nooks and crannies and things to uncover. And the idea of it is that it's Misgrave Manor, and I have the whole bio for the family that lives there because it's an old shitty house. So we're making
it's an old Victorian house. Yeah,
it's inherently spooky. So we're kind of leaning into that inherent spookiness. But it's kind of like where like spookiness and kind of fantastical and sexiness meet. The bar room is really sexy, but then you can also go out into the rose garden out back and sit on a picnic.
Yeah, a beautiful garden. Yeah.
Beautiful. So that's kind of the mission statement for Twist, which should be opening June 4th, and I'm really excited about it.
I love that you have all these mythologies, because Dreamland had a mythology too. It was like floating city.
Yeah.
And then Stampede was what? Just Wild West? What was the theme?
Well, Stampede's the Wild West on Mars. But Stampede's mythology,
I forgot the Mars part.
It grows and expands with every menu we put out.
Yeah. I would say like the running undercurrent in all of them is like aliens or space. Well, I haven't seen the new one yet. And also like novelty glassware is what I think of when I think of your creations. Like really cobra-shaped mugs and fantastical, the best glassware in town.
The cobra-shaped mugs are really cool. We also had Elvis at Dreamland, Blue Elvis, and he was really cool too. That was just one of the things that, I built Stampede to be a young bartender built Stampede. So it's like you get all your young bartender dreams out. It's like, we're going to have all the crazy glassware. We're going to do this. We're going to make things that don't make sense. So that's kind of, that's Stampede's mission.
But it was so exciting when Stampede, as a food writer, as a journalist, when Stampede came out, people were losing their minds about it. Like people were planning their weeks to try to get a seat there. As you were saying, it was 1 a.m. and it was still totally on fire. Like, I remember that. It was very exciting. People needed that novelty. Like Seattle's so, I don't want to say laid back because we're not laid back. We're uptight but quiet maybe. We needed something really ostentatious and and fantabulous, and you really filled a niche there. So, especially in Fremont.
Bars
Took
have
itself a little bit seriously back then.
Yeah, well,
But Fremont's DNA is in funkiness, you know. I think that this new house, the
True.
new twist is I painted the exterior. It's all purple just because I wanted to keep it Fremont
Good.
funky. It's gonna look perfect
Good.
as the naked bike rider come by, you know.
Perfect. Yeah, it'll be well, and it's by Charlie Square Books. Like that strip is getting more colorful.
Yeah, for sure.
That Outlander, in my memory, had a full brewing system in the basement because my cousin was the head brewer. So I got to see the brewing works underneath it. Are you going to use that basement space as well?
no. So they
Took all that with them, and I don't know how to
Okay,
brew.
okay.
So I'm very glad that
Okay.
that's not my
But
responsibility.
you get to use the space. You get to use
Well,
the space though, just for storage or whatever.
Absolutely. What's exciting is storage is at a premium in Seattle. So when we're talking about the nuts and bolts of this new concept, you know, we're going to be able to buy liquor by the pallet and get as cheap as rates as we can to keep our costs
Awesome.
down. You know,
It kind of occurred to me yesterday after I visited that having those bars right next to each other, literally, it's like that's not just a benefit to Twist, like that's a benefit to Stampede as well.
absolutely.
Like
yeah.
that's because like as you talk about space being at a premium, like Stampede does have some space below it, and like that is I think a lot better than some bars have for space.
For
but
sure.
like still, it was not enough. Like
No.
obviously we needed more space, so like having that as well is just going to be such a efficiency for you.
Yeah, I mean,
it's important. I call my block West Fremont, and it's important for me to like, you know, keep on putting cool stuff down here over and on my side of the street, because it can sometimes it can be a ghost town. You know, I know we're going to segue into some other stuff, but Petoskey's next door to me, they were lit on fire. They had a huge active arson, so now Petoskey's is completely shuttered until they redo that. So you have to walk down a big stretch of block before you get to any more nightlife at Stampede. So that was kind of in the thing of the twist.
Is Petoskey's? When did that happen? Like a month ago, maybe?
yeah, 2 months. 2 months.
That's Joel from Bauhaus, right? I'm just trying to think. Does he have other businesses that are open, or is that his bread and butter, Petoskey's?
Dude, I feel for that guy so
So much. I talked to him the day it
Yeah.
happened, and I was almost in tears.
Yeah.
I mean, they were lit on fire.
the week, like the Friday before the Super Bowl. I mean, that's the Super Bowl.
Oh
Of,
my gosh.
No Super Bowl. Like the amount of, if it
Yeah.
would have been me, I would have been, I don't even know, distraught. Distraught wouldn't even have come close to how I would have been feeling about that.
Paul, you got a little bit quieter.
I would have been distraught.
Say it louder. Say it with your chest. That's fucking horrible. I'm sorry. I should be laughing at all. Yeah.
No.
I mean, do you just want to segue into the grim stuff? Because it's been a grim week for Seattle business owners. Do you want to chat about that at all? Is it on your mind at all?
Today, as I got to work at 8 a.m., we had already been robbed. So we're getting robbed or almost robbed roughly twice a week right now. I mean, it kind of comes and goes in waves. I've got a lot of experience in it. I almost caught a guy the other day. I made it down from my house to the bar while they were still inside the bar. And I got within an arm's length of actually catching them.
Oh my God.
I've citizens arrested 2 people. And then had to wait 30 minutes for the cops to come while I hold them down. That's the first one was there was a guy smashing windows on Fremont, and Petoskey's was open, and I just happened to be out front, and it was a Vikings game, so there's all these Vikings fans wearing their horns and stuff, and he's smashing out windows.
Yeah.
Vikings fans go to chase him, and we ended up cornering him, and we called the cops, and we get him taken away. But I turned to the Vikings fans and goes, I always wanted to go on a quest with a bunch of Vikings.
This guy, always ready with the line. Holy shit. That's horrible. I'm sorry. That just happened today. That's your today.
That's today. We've been robbed so much that I have a dummy safe upstairs, and they stole the dummy safe. So I spent an afternoon chasing an AirTag around in Ballard. Turns out AirTags don't work really well. But yeah, so that's really unfortunate. The first day of me owning Twist, all the electrical was stripped out of it. So it's something that's happening frequently. This morning, I had to drive to Lowe's, and there was a cop behind me all the way up 3rd. And usually you're, a little spooked when there's a cop behind you. But I'm like, I hope they pull me over because I'm going to hit them with a reverse Uno card. Like, I'm so glad you're here. I'd like to file a report.
Reverse Uno card. I'm gonna write that down too. Holy shit. You're full of them. I should have known. I've been to your bars before. I should have known you'd have the one-liners.
Well,
they're all cocktail names.
Just,
the reverse Uno card.
It's just to the point where, it's challenging right now. But I think everybody's dealing with it. Everyone is I am not unique. Everyone is in my position right now. And maybe we should be getting a little more spotlight on it or attention, because you can talk to all up and down my block, all up and down the city. Everyone's getting ripped off right now. And it's hard, whenever the guy who came in today, he didn't even take anything, but he broke my lock, which sets me back. We have to address that. Even if it's not money, it's time. If it's not, we're fortunate today that today wasn't a big deal, and it's so common that I just kind of kept my day moving.
Even if it's not a burglary, it's a vandalism and it costs you money. You mentioned earlier that you saw Holly Robinson, who was on the show a couple weeks ago, put a reel out. I mean, it's not really a reel. It's not an influencer reel. It's a speech, frankly, about how Sunny Hill, her restaurant, got robbed, and it's happening all over. And I know that LaCoin got hit last week. Like, there's a spate of them in that Fremont, Ballard, Crown Hill area going on. And she's talked to Dan Strauss, who's a city council member, but she's frustrated, obviously, like everyone is, because what's to be done? Like, she's asking for dog walkers who are out at night to help do like a neighborhood watch and report things that they see, because it's so widespread, and I'm not sure what to do. Jeff, we were talking earlier, like, as a journalist, like, can journalists help bother the city council? I'm not sure what the move is.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly is a pressure point that I feel like is effective generally. Like, that's definitely one of the roles of journalism, is to just kind of speak for the people in a more official way, In
a louder, more widespread way, yeah.
Right. So just to give something people to agree with, and something to give people something to rally behind.
Yeah. Holly did say that Dan Strauss responded. I don't know what he said, but she said he did get back to her. I mean, do you have ideas, Paul?
I think Holly is an incredible person, and if anybody's going to get people motivated, it's going to be her.
Yeah.
When I was dealing with some others, random stuff a while back, it was very hard for me to get the attention of a police officer. Our North Precinct is closed. I couldn't even walk into the North Precinct to talk to them about it. And I emailed the city attorney. I emailed a lot of people. Nobody ever got back to me. And the one person I think I did get on the phone just kind of told me tough shit. So that was really disheartening, because it's putting me in a position where, and I think a lot of people are in this position where it's like, I signed up to throw parties and be a bar owner, and now I'm like, sometimes I feel like a masked vigilante, or I'm like Batman trying to solve crime. Like, I think a lot about crime.
I think a lot about crime.
I think a lot about crime.
Doing crimes, solving crimes. Yeah, right.
Sometimes I like to do it. Sometimes I like to fight it.
Yeah.
No, but so it's tough. It's like we didn't. This is not an aspect that I even could foresee as in the future as a bar owner. But it's something we're dealing with. So, I'd love to. I don't know. Talk to somebody more. I mean, whenever it's crazy, whenever I see a squad car in Fremont, I'm happy to see it. Which, if you would have talked to 20-year-old Paul, he would have had the opposite response to that.
Yeah.
But, I was going to chime in about the whole, I think it's just so unfortunate that we're in a place where we have to rely on the cops so much, because they are just kind of like one of the only things we have that's supposed to be doing something about this.
But then they don't do it, so.
Well, the cops they've always been, since we since we got them to be upset with us as a society in 2020, they their feelings were really hurt by that, apparently. So they're always in a place where they're continuing to be oh, well, you guys don't want to give us any money, so we're just not really able to do anything at all, and then that's just kind of their way to ask for more money and not necessarily improve the situation that just improve the resources. So it's I wish we just had other means to deal with the root of this problem. And I know that's like really idealistic because it doesn't immediately just like stop your windows from getting broken into. But I guess I just kind of wanted to add like long term. It's like, yeah, we obviously need short term solutions, but like long term solutions isn't just like, you know, more resources for the police department that has no idea how to actually deal with this.
Yeah, what do we get for the money that they do get paid? Just
Right.
not
Just like-
enough.
Just
Yeah.
like anything else in society, it just goes.
They'll
to,
drive
like,
around and shit, but they're not gonna
bonuses for
like get out of the
executives.
car.
I by no means have any of those answers, but to me it just seems like a vicious cycle where they do a bad job, we tell them that we hate them, so they do a bad job, so we tell them that we hate them, and it's like I
That's
want
pretty
the
much
cycle.
That was a
You
good
know,
way
like-
of saying what I was trying to say.
Yeah, right. It's just a cycle of not being happy with them, and
Yeah.
then they're not. No one's happy with each other right now. But we,
Right.
to an extent, need them. So I don't know. It's beyond me, for sure.
Yeah, I know this is getting grim, and I want to have an upbeat, nice time talking to Paul, but this shit is real. Like, that really happened to you today. So,
Yeah.
and it's going to happen to someone tomorrow, right? So,
Yeah.
we should be at least talking about it and brainstorming on it. Maybe I'll talk to some people and write a story. Maybe
There
I'll
you
pitch
go.
a story once we're
Yeah.
done today and see
know,
if
I-
anyone wants to pay me fucking $500 to do this. Like, we don't get paid either, so.
Well, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's got to be hard to be in your shoes as a food journalist in Seattle because our industry is on such is grim right now. And where do you find the balance between reporting the truth and then or reporting, and then or kind of still being positive in the community, a positive force in the community?
I don't like to report anything. I don't like to report anything untrue. No shit. I don't
Right.
like to
No, but
report
for saying-
negative stories that are my opinion. I'll say that. Like, I'm not gonna eat at a place and be like, this place fucking sucks, fuck you, don't go
Right.
here. Like, I'll never do that. There's too many good places to lift up that are all, frankly, in danger of clothing that I want to spend my platform on helping them. As far as there's not a lot of, we talked about this earlier, there's not a lot of places to write about food news. Like, anyone will be like, tell us about a good restaurant, we'll publish that. Happy to hire you to do that. I'm a freelancer. I don't have an editorial staff position anywhere. I write for 6 or 7 different newspapers, so I can't just decide what I'm going to write about. I have to pitch it, which is fine. But it's very difficult with the layoff of Harry Cheadle at Eater Seattle. There's no one really covering food news consistently. And there's lots of food news. There's lots of break-ins happening. There's lots of shit happening every single week. And it's to the point where I'm like, do I need to start my own publication so that this stuff gets reported on? Then it doesn't, I don't want to be like, I need to get paid for my work, but I do need to pay my bills. So it's grim in Seattle food journalism as well right now. And I've been talking with some fellow journalists about what we're going to do about it.
I'm actually talking with Harry tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Ford and I have a phone call with him. He's writing an article about our lawyer, Stephen Toff, of Bread and Roses Law Group. He just does a lot of work. He's got a big case with Boeing right now. He's the one who created a settlement with Canlis over their service charge policy in I think 2018, 2019 or something. So he's just got kind of a history of working. He's just a very pro-labor guy, and he just seems like he's taken on a lot of really important cases around the city over the past few years. So,
well, I'm glad Harry's still on the beat locally. I know he wrote something for Bon Appetit the other day. He wrote a story for Seattle Met the other day. So he's out there contributing.
Well, that's kind of why I bring it up, because it's that's an example of because he's not working with Eater anymore. It's like he had to pitch that story to somebody. So
Exactly.
somebody did accept a story about a pro-labor lawyer who's fighting things as big as Boeing and things as local as sea creatures and Canlis and stuff like that. So
there are maybe 10 of us, maybe 15 if you count influencer journalists. It's not enough for a city of this size with 10,000 restaurants in it and a lot of crime and a lot of things happening and a lot of employees getting done dirty and scandal and that kind of thing, and it pays very little. So
I also had an experience. I'm glad we're kind of touching on this stuff because
Yeah.
in a follow up to like what we talked about with Skip about how all the same places get covered all the time, and it's like not really serving like the places that need to get covered and like that need to survive, that actually are creating community. I had a group of people up at the bar from Sunset Magazine this week.
great.
They
People
just-
keep telling me to pitch them. Great. That's great.
I love Sunset
Yeah.
Magazine.
Yeah, well, I don't really know much about Sunset Magazine, and I was really excited to serve them because they were all really nice, and it's fun to kind of do something a little bit different, and they have like cameras out, and they want to make sure that the drink is like really pretty, and they're asking like what the best looking food and everything is, and I got to talk to them for a little bit, and actually they were staying at the hotel, so I talked to seemingly like the person that was kind of in charge the second day and his partner. And I asked them where they were going after they were done here, because it seemed like they were kind of touring around, and they were like, "Oh, we're going to like Lioness, and then we're coming
I
back."
knew you were gonna
like,
say Renee. I knew it.
I know. We're gonna go to Lioness, and then we're gonna go down to Mio as well. And I'm just like,
I knew
man,
it.
that's just kind of like what
Yeah.
everybody covers, So I guess go for it.
Do you know who I am? Yeah, you should have.
Yeah,
said that.
no, I didn't, and I didn't do anything like that. But then the next day they came back, and I kind of was like, how does this work? Because I gotta be honest, like it really just seems like Renee and like Ethan Stoll and places like that just kind of like get covered by everybody because like they have some sort of influence or some sort of like the financial ability to get covered like that. Like I just don't even really know what it entails. And they were
It's
like,
a
well,
PR
yeah,
team.
well, yeah, they were like places like that have like a publicist. So like we just, and he kind of just really, I forget how he really explained it, but I just got the impression that he was just like, yeah, man, it's just kind of all about the money. So that just is what it is. And
Well,
like that was just kind of the short answer that I got from him. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty unfortunate. And he was like, yeah, it is.
2 comments
No.
on that. Yeah, they have a huge PR team that sends emails to people like me a couple times a week, and they will pester you until you go. Like, they really will. Someone wants me to go
Right.
to something on a cruise ship next week, or maybe it's this week, and I don't want to go, and I'm not interested, and I've gotten like 10 emails about it. They just will
Interesting.
pester you.
Okay,
But-
so that's the biggest part is that it's just like they make it enticing for you to go do
And
that.
they'll give you a free dinner, and they'll give you a +1, and I'm not hard up
Right.
for that, but some people are.
Right.
And then the other comment is that you're the 3rd or 4th person to mention Sunset Magazine this week, and it seems like kismet. Like I need to pitch them.
Yeah.
Just maybe even a travel story. I don't know. Just something like day trip from Seattle type shit. I don't know. I just keep hearing the word Sunset Magazine. To me, that's like something that was in my grandmother's bathroom. Like it seems old school, but if they're showing up
Something-
at Fearon, then maybe I should
I
go
feel like
chat with
Sunset
them.
is cool.
Yeah.
It just tells you a lot of like cool spots on the West Coast.
Well, I did mention to them specifically that like we had talked about what we talked about last week with Skip about how there needs to be like actual local people that are covering this place because that's the only way you know what needs to be covered. Like I don't know
Right.
where they were coming from, but it's like they're not from here. So
Right.
like they're just responding to whichever publicist they decide to respond to, and it's like you're as a journalist, like ideally once again, you kind of need to create your own beat, like you need to figure
Yeah.
out like what it is you care about and like try to talk about what you want to talk about instead of just being like, oh yeah, I guess this person's going to make it really easy for me to write about them and my boss is telling me I need to write a story, so this is the easiest way to write a story, and it just happens
Yeah.
over and over again. So it's just unfortunate.
Well, when it comes to local Seattle restaurant news, we just need more of it. Like, I would love to pitch a story on all the crime wave. It's going to take weeks to write it, and then I have to find someone who will pay me between $500 and $1,000 to do, like, I don't know, 80 hours of work. I'll still do it. Like, I'm not saying it's not worth it because the news needs to be documented, but it is hard to affect change when there's a really long lead time. You have to pitch someone. Like, I pitched someone last week and just got, a week later, I got a response on it. And they were like, we don't want this, but we want this kind of thing. And so then you have to adjust your plans and
Then pitch them again, and then by
and
the
then
time
pitch them
that
again.
happens, it's like not even a news story that was
It's
like
not
as
even a
relevant
news
as it
story.
was like a month ago.
And that was the thing about Harry Cheadle. He was the news desk. He was the everything desk. He could just decide and he could turn it around really fast because he was getting paid a salary to do that. So it's rough out there. That's not to say I'm not going to do it, but it's hard. That's all. Sorry, that was a long-winded answer to your question, Paul.
That was your question.
Yes.
Yeah.
I heard, you know?
Well,
Yeah.
I keep looking at the time because I keep thinking it's going to be like, oh my God, we have to talk about what we ate this week. But like, we've covered so many topics so fast.
We have, yeah.
I mean,
do
you want to talk about like our time together a little bit? Because I feel like, first of all, like you told the story up until the point like where we met, but then like a lot of stuff happened after that, and it's like, you know, I don't need to tell like my whole lore, but like I feel like there's some good lore in there as well. Because you hired me as a barback too, because you were like, you know,
True.
I already have all the bartenders, but if you want to work here, then like you can just do dumplings and like be a barback. And I was like, yeah, like I just obviously wanted to work there. Like it just seemed like the kind of bar I had just come from in California in some ways. You know, it was a very like, it made a lot of sense like career-wise for me to be in a spot exactly like that. And it just seemed like exactly what I wanted to do. So I was definitely willing to just be like, yeah, whatever you need me to do. I'm just happy to be on the staff.
Just happy to be here.
I did tell you that I had to, I couldn't do your dumplings the first weekend I got hired because I was getting flown back down to California to work at Hearst Castle as a bartender for like a private event. So I was like, yeah, like I'll come back and sling dumplings, but I'm actually like getting flown down to be a bartender in California this weekend. So anyway,
that made me more appealing.
Anybody in their first year of bar ownership has no, can I swear on this podcast, has no fucking idea what they're doing. You know, like I think back on that time and it's like, that is crazy. That whole year is just a blur.
Yeah, well, and it was crazy, but there was also, you know, I also couldn't blame you, and in fact, like you were being loyal to the people that just like helped you build that bar. Because like I think the person that we're referencing is JP. Was that his name?
And he's doing great. He was my barback, and now he's running a big is it East India? He's running a huge place in New York City.
In New York City, yeah. I mean, I know that he ended up moving to New York City, and it seemed like he's done a lot of crazy stuff there. But
he's crushing it.
But yeah, when I got hired, you'd basically promised him a bartending job.
I did.
Because he had like kind of helped you build out the bar in some ways, as I understand.
Right, and he had been my barback at another location.
Okay, sure. So yeah, you guys had like this history, and then I just remember a couple weeks after I had been there, like Meg had alluded to, like it was pretty bonkers, like on a regular basis, like just all night long. Like we were doing a lot of business those first couple months, and he was in the second well. And he was just getting absolutely buried, and I just saw the light like leave his eyes, like through the curtains of like the dumpling room. I was because you can see, you know what I'm saying? Like
you're of the dumpling.
you're in the dumpling room, and you see out the little like the slit or like one of the curtains that's like open, and it's like looking right onto that well. And I just saw like all these people around him, and I just saw that he like his soul had like left his body entirely.
It's extremely poetic through the curtains
you're one
of
of
the
Stampede. We didn't batch any cocktails.
Right,
so
I know.
Making, like,
yeah.
And there were no servers, I think, back then, so you'd have a line out the door, and you're making like 9-touch cocktails. So that was ridiculous.
Yeah,
it was easy to get, you know, to be underwater.
I want to say that somebody who had not been a bartender before, or like didn't have much experience, like he was set up to fail in that moment. Like it was really hard to bartend at that bar for the first few months for like all the reasons you alluded to. Like we didn't have our batching program at all. Like the wells were set up, but they would go on to get set up like way more efficiently in the future. So like it was
the first brutal. Well system was duct tape and wires. Legitimately, we spooled 2 things of duct tape together. So it was crazy.
But then I do remember basically just like asking him if he wanted to like switch. I was like, do you want to just like take a few minutes to make dumplings and like just get your wits about you again? And he must have accepted or whatever, but then I think I just started bartending after that because I just like made it through the night. And I think Eric was the other bartender, and I think I was just like, yo, can you tell Paul that like enough is enough? Like this is what should be happening. And he was like, oh yeah, for sure, man. Like obviously.
I was at the many years ago. I was at the Botanist in Vancouver, BC. It's that super high tech bar, and they have like a room you can see from the bar top. You can see all their like gadgets, all the centrifuges and stuff like that. And he was like, and I was like, I have a centrifuge too, but it's in the basement of my bar. It's a house. And he goes, you know, man, that's punk rock. And I'm like, thanks. It is. I haven't thought about it like that, but it is punk rock. You know, that first year was incredibly punk rock. We're trying to do the craziest
Yeah.
cocktails with,
I also kind of meant to give my take on like what Stampede is like thematically when you guys were talking about that, and I feel like
let's hear it.
I feel like it's just any like stop along the way of like in a chapter of like a sci-fi book. It's like whatever sci-fi book you're talking about, if there's like some random chapter in the middle where for some reason they have to like stop at this small town and like
Roadhouse,
be at a bar or like some sort of roadhouse. Yeah, like you always thought about it as like a country western sci-fi roadhouse. And I feel like that was like its inception.
I'm imagining like the tavern. Oh, sorry. I'm imagining the tavern in the Nintendo version of Castlevania, where you have to stop at the tavern and ask a barman for a clue to find the skeleton
I love
universe
doing
or
that
something like that.
People come into my bar and I'm like, oh yeah, we heard that there's weird lights happening down at the lighthouse. So someone's been turning. There's ghosts at the old farm. Old man Abernathy.
Take this tool with you. Yeah.
I'll give you time. Because you wanted to talk about the menus too, right, Meg?
Yeah, let's talk about the menus. The production quality of the menus is incredible at Stampede.
Thank
for
you
listeners.
So much.
If you haven't been, they're little books.
So our menu right now is, we call it the Lost Dog menu, and it's I didn't plan it this way, but it's I got a dog about a year ago, Tiberius. He's a big boy, but Tiberius gets captured by an evil scientist and gets unstuck in time. So he's at the center of the universe talking to God, and he's a samurai in feudal Japan, and he's at an Andy Warhol party in 1960s New York, and he's just trying to get back home. So it ends with him fighting the evil scientist in the barroom at Stampede, and then it's home sweet home, which is kind of a tearjerker. I had a person in Twist the other day, because I was showing her something, and she's like, yeah, we love Stampede, and I had Tiberius with me, and she goes, this is Tiberius? She's like, I cried at the end of that menu. she was starstruck by my dog, Ty.
I can tell that Meg is hearing all of this, just being like, oh my god, like, what a crazy story. And, like, I'm listening to it being like, yeah, of course, he talked to God.
Yeah, I know Tiberius.
He talked to God, that makes sense. Yeah, Warhol party, yeah, totally. Awesome,
yeah,
really on
he's
theme.
doing cocaine with David Bowie.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you write novels. Like, are you a fiction writer?
I was actually going to make a joke about this, but this is the first podcast I've ever been on, but I listen to a lot of fantasy writing podcasts. One day when I get out of the bar game, I'm going to write a book. I've got some pages. They're not good.
My day job is I edit light novels for a manga company, manga publishing.
Oh, cool.
So I spend all day reading this shit.
Wow,
that's crazy.
And it's not really my thing, but it's a lot of fantasy.
For sure. I walk the dog and I listen to the podcast and I go, oh yeah, behind this door I'll put more orcs or whatever.
You've got to be writing this stuff down. And they need to be heavily illustrated, like your menus are as well. Yeah.
Well, Paul and I wrote a novella. I know it was only like 17 pages or whatever.
No,
but like,
dude,
I
the
would say
novella
that,
is thick.
I would say what was it, Midnight at the Rosebud?
Well, we did a couple of things.
Yeah.
Jeff
and then also the Adventures of Stampede Cocktail
I
Club,
missed not being able to work with Jeff, because when we would do the extracurricular stuff like the menus and stuff, Jeff was amazing at working on stuff like that. We did Midnight at the Rosebud, which was a murder mystery set in a diner. But it turns out you were the killer. Spoiler alert, you were the killer. You had some lost time in there. We also did a little novella during the shutdown that we gave in each packet of to-go cocktails.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that one.
And that was
you wrote that one. Like, I feel like that was you writing more of it than like the other ones. Like, I feel like you were totally on that one, and I was just kind of like, you're rolling.
No, but we did it together. That was just a complete sci-fi novel, and it just talked about Stampede in the year 2030. I don't know, 3030, and the
it was like somebody had come back.
Spacemen came back to the ruins, and they went underneath Stampede, and there's the Blue Labyrinth cloning facility. But then all of that lore gets baked into the menus we do afterwards. So after like 3 years after that, we did a board game of the house, and you traveled through the house. And then you'd end up in the Blue Labyrinth cloning facility, and you'd be in the gambling parlor, and you'd be in the, all this like stuff that we say in past menus show back up in the menus
Right, and Blue
Right now
Labyrinth was also like the place where the murder took place in the Midnight at the Rosebud. Like they had like
Right.
the old coal mines or something that Blue Labyrinth owns.
Yeah,
There's,
yeah,
like, weird
yeah,
lights
exactly.
over those, you know.
Right
You
now,
gotta
what
be
we're
writing
doing,
this stuff down, or
Oh,
you should
man.
be writing video game plots or something like that.
I'd love to. Right
Brilliant.
now, what we're doing is the next menu is going to be called Twist of Fate. I do want to say one other thing before this. I have been very fortunate to work with great illustrators. So how we do the menus is I stick figure 19 pages, and I go, this cocktail is going to be called, whatever. And then I do stick figures, and then the illustrators come in and they sit down with me and have to like dissect my brain, and we make cool stuff happen out of that. So shout out to them. AJ is working on it right now with me, and he's helping me with Twist, AJ Bassane. So right now, the next menu is going to be like a summer J.J. Abrams style blockbuster of a mystery, like a treasure hunt of Twist of Fate. So in the Stampede menu, you'll go through the new Twist of Fate building and go through the Gargoyle Room and the Rose Garden and the Sun Deck, and eventually there's a little bit of a spoiler alert, but eventually you'll fight the suit of armor that's on the roof in a thunderstorm, and you'll find the key that opens up. Because it's about a woman who's lonely in Seattle, and her great-grandmother dies, Broomhilda Misgrave, and she gets the deed to the estate of Misgrave Manor, and that's the house that Twist of Fate is in. So we're kind of trying to do it like a summer blockbuster, but it's kind of like a murder mystery. So she'll be running through the house, and there'll be, almost one for one. She's in the, the Zen Garden, and we're gonna have a Zen Garden over at Twist. So
I can't wait to go to this bar.
basically
I'm so
a
excited.
gigantic advertisement for the new bar, but it'll be fun to be like,
Yeah.
when you're sitting at Stampede, be like, yeah, go check this shit out. It's right there down the street. You can
It's
go hang out with that,
It's
Yeah.
brilliant, and I'm actually I have an idea forming in my head. I'm an editor at Public Display Art, which usually focuses on visual art and art galleries and museums. I'm trying to get them to expand to food and music and performance. They do a little bit of performance and music, but I think a whole story could be written about your menus. Like the production value of your menus is really, and the illustrators.
when I started, I kind of
really
worked
something.
myself. Thank you, I appreciate that. I kind of worked myself into a hole because now we're on like the 16th or something. We're putting out two serious menus a year. And then we're putting out a bunch of like ancillary menus, like i.e. October, dry January, Christmas. But I'm like, man, I really don't want to. The menu over at Twist is going to be on the wall, and it's going to change like once a year, and I'm really happy about that because it takes a lot of brain power to make these menus happen. And when we started, there was like no one was doing crazy menus, and I opened up Instagram the other day, and Schmuck, the big cocktail bar in New York, has like a Plinko style menu. You can like play Plinko, and that chooses your cocktail. So I feel like we're a little
Wow. You started that gangster shit, yeah, for sure.
But it's
I always wanted to do shit like that too. Like I remember when I was in California, I had a card game that you could do with like a normal 52 card deck, but it was like, you ever play that drinking game where it's like smoke and fire and then like high and low, where you have to like pick? Maybe not. So I won't go into explaining the whole rules of it. But anyway, like you basically just had to pick like 3 different cards or whatever, and it would be like whether it's a light spirit or a dark spirit, whether it's shaken or stirred, and then whether it's like a classic or like a riff on like a classic, or like the bartender has to make something up that's not a classic, And I started doing that in California, and it was really fun, and like I got kind of a couple other bartenders to get in on it too, and I was doing it at Stampede as well. So I feel like just in that way, you're talking about just making the whole cocktail ordering experience something other than it was. And I think that's always what I wanted to continue doing. And then like when I met you at Stampede, it just seemed like you were allowing me to have all these crazy ideas too, and that we could actually like just turn it into some stuff that like it really didn't have to be at all.
We don't see a lot of solo diners anymore, or that's like, that's definitely trending down right now. But it's like built for the solo diner when you're like kind of sitting there instead of looking at your phone these days, you can kind of get immersed in the menu and get some more, use it as an arm of more of the brand of the business, of the bar. This is what we are. This is the shit we're into. We're into sci-fi and stuff. I think the next menu for winter might be Oops, All Chief Keef. This is,
Amazing. Well, I have a million more questions I could ask you, Paul, but should we talk about what we ate this week?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Paul or Jeff, why don't you start?
Okay, sure. Well,
I like your Wile E. Coyote hat, by the way. You just put your head down.
There you go.
Is there a significance of that? No.
I got it when I was working at Stampede. One of the other bartenders bought it for me.
Okay.
Louis bought me this hat.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
I like it.
I think she was down in Texas and like just said it made me think of you, and I was like, that's like the coolest thing anybody's ever said to me because this is a really cool hat. So, anyway, I want to talk about. I went to a really cool grocery store. I went to Indian Sweets and Groceries in Shoreline.
Okay.
Cool.
My buddy and I just kind of took like a Monday trip. It was actually right after we recorded one of the episodes. He just got a new car. It's like a little yellow convertible from like 2003 or something. It's like just a very, very niche car, but like if you're into cars, apparently it's like a pretty cool thing to have.
Is it a Miata?
I don't know. I don't think it's a Miata. I literally don't even know the make of it. Like I don't know anything about cars. But like we just drove up there and played golf at Jackson Park for a little bit, and then he wanted to go over to this Indian grocery store because he's a really good cook, and he was like, oh, I want to make sag paneer and like some whatever else he was making, and I just was like, okay, cool, I want to get snacks. So I got snacks. I got this like Punjabi trail mix where it was like chickpea flour fried noodles and like peanuts, and it was all like spicy. What else was in it? Like lentils. Yeah. And then I just really like going to places where like you don't really know it's not in a language you understand, and like all this, it's just not a normal grocery store as far as like the one I have to go to like a couple times a week or whatever, you know. It's a new experience. Right. And I like trying to figure out what the snacks are going to be all about, and then being like, oh, I thought it was going to be like this, but I guess it's like that. I got these like coffee flavored cookies that I feel like would go really well. I mean, I know it's silly to say like, oh yeah, I'd go well with coffee, but just like texturally, I really liked that they were like kind of like hard and crunchy. I didn't expect it to be like that from like the way it looked on the box and everything. So yeah, I just really enjoyed that texturally. And then there were like these green chutney flavored like cheese puffs. Like they were Cheetos, but they were green chutney flavored.
That sounds awesome.
And they were really, really good. And all of it was like spicy in like a way that I actually was like happy with, like not just like, I don't know. I feel like it really worked for the kind of spice that it gave you. You know, it was like it was like a big flavor. So I really loved the snacks at once again Indian Sweets and Groceries in Shoreline.
Love it. I have a story in me somewhere about like supermarkets. Charles Mendete at The Stranger recently wrote about bodegas, which is a different kind of culture, but there's a lot of, I don't want to say the word ethnic because it sounds so Eurocentric, but like supermarkets that are not like Fred Meyer or Safeway or whatever, that have foods that a normal Americanized supermarket don't have. And so I don't know about this one. I'm excited. I'll probably go up there.
Yeah, they have like I was reading some of their reviews, and it seems like people appreciate that they have like bulk items of like different like flours and grains and things that you would need in Indian cooking, or just things that like are less expensive there. Like I guess the spices are just a pretty good deal, and that's why my buddy stocked up on like cumin and coriander and like all that other stuff that's like more expensive other places. I also went to AA Sushi in Ballard yesterday. Okay. Just had a little lunch date on a Sunday afternoon, and their whole thing is that it's like affordable. Like it even says it on like the front page of the menu. It says it in their description, and that's kind of pretty cool. It kind of goes along with what we've been talking about. I feel like it's kind of a similar business model that you're describing, Paul, where it's like you just try to get a lot of people in there. Like just make it a draw and just try to do volume. And they were busy, and the whole thing was like very efficient. Like you kind of order it dim sum style, where you have to just like write the amount of whatever you want, like on like a whole checklist, and you just like hand it to the server. Yeah, it was great. Like the roll, like literally nothing was over $7. Like I think they had like combo stuff or like plates you could order that were like, you know, I think the most expensive one was like $20 or $21, but like just to order a bunch of stuff that's off the checklist, it's all like between like $2 and $6.
Great.
And it's awesome. Like you get little like four slices of like a roll, so it's probably like kind of half a roll. And they do like sashimi and nigiri, obviously. but yeah, I just found it was just so fun to be able to like actually have more variety, I guess.
Yeah.
'Cause sometimes when you go to a sushi place, you kind of have to like commit to like a thing because it's like a whole big thing. But
Is
this
that-
is more of a nice little variety.
Is that in the old Billy Beach on Larry?
Yeah, it's like right when Leary meets Market. It's like
Yeah.
right next to Rachel's Bagels and
Yep.
that area. Yeah,
Cool.
so I thought it was, for some reason, I thought it was like a burrito spot that used to be there.
Oh yeah, it
El
was
Borracho or
El
something.
Borracho. Okay, it's next to where Billy Beach was. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
Yeah, it's a big space too. I think it's just really good for Ballard to have a place where like you can go and not have to wait for a long time to sit down in a place
Yeah.
like that, because I feel like a lot of sushi places are smaller. So sometimes it's kind of hard to feel like you can get a seat and like have like a quick experience, but they really get you in and get you out if you want to. So
Cool. I'm glad to know about it. I remember when it opened, but I haven't been. Cool. Is that it?
yeah, those are my two.
Cool. Paul, you want to go? Did you eat anything recently?
Yeah, I did.
Seattle?
I have been eating stuff. Speaking of
Good.
sushi in Ballard, Stampede just did a pop-up at Shiku Sushi. Shiku Sushi is now has a new owner, and she's really cool. And she's this young lady doing badass sushi. I got the chef sampler that night. It was delicious. I can't remember what was
Okay.
in it. We were kind of ripping.
Okay.
I ordered a shot of salmon nigiri for the whole entire restaurant, which was a little outrageous, a little over the top, but we had a really great time. But if you haven't been in the Shiku Sushi in a while, you should definitely go back. It was awesome.
How do you spell that?
It's Shiku, and they're right there on
Okay, Shiku.
on Ballard Ave.
Okay.
That's where
So
Dusty and I
that-
had our first date.
Oh, amazing!
Yeah.
I'm trying. What's it by on Ballard Ave? Ballard Ave, like, what did it
It's
used
by
to be?
Greater, Good Grief.
It's been there
The new bar.
forever. It's been there
Okay.
for like it's been there
Yeah,
for like
it's been there for a long time, but it's got a new owner now. The other thing I've had, and I feel like these guys do not get enough coverage, is Lucky Pho. Those guys are amazing.
Yeah, they're great. They're
I
awesome.
eat
Yeah.
Lucky Pho all the time. It is always packed.
Yeah.
It is so delicious. I wish they'd bring the truffle oil back. I mean, I think it's the best pho in the world. I have not.
I love that spot.
You know, I haven't had it abroad, but I love that place. They're so happy, they're so upbeat, and they're so efficient. Yeah, great.
I like that
Especially-
they do that Vietnamese coffee that has the condensed milk in the bottom, and then they turn it
Oh,
upside
yeah.
down. They call it Mount Rainier because it looks like snow coming down onto the coffee. I love that.
It's
A liquid
it's
Mount
amazing.
Rainier.
And then
Yeah,
the third thing
they're
I
fun
had,
too.
which everybody, they're getting a lot of press, but it's right by my house. Outlander Outsider Barbecue.
Oh, they're
shout
so
out
good.
owner. It's so good. It's so good. I go in there like
I wanna-
pretty frequently. It's amazing. I'm its neighbor, so I go in there, you know, on their off times. I drove past the other day. They had a line almost stretching around the block. So I don't know if they need the press,
Yeah.
but
Maybe not.
yeah, that
They were on my best restaurants of the year last year. Chef owner is so nice too.
He's such a sweetheart.
That's ONUR. He's an owner, but his name is Onur.
Yeah.
It's almost a homophone. Anyway, I love that place. I like the brisket. I really like that banana pudding they do that has Nilla wafers and like he just uses heavy cream. It's almost like a Jello banana pudding, but instead of milk, he uses fucking heavy whipping cream, and it has the Nilla wafers in it. I love that shit.
I haven't had.
I also love the meat.
Yeah, the brisket's
He
incredible.
has.
took
I
my
like his
mom-
esquites. Yeah. He's very talented. The sausage, the cheese jalapeno sausage, has little nuggets of queso in the sausage, and the sausage is made from the burnt ends of the brisket. It's killer.
I had the ribs
Yeah.
last time I was there. Those were.
I haven't had the ribs yet. Yeah. Oh no, I had the beef rib once. It was like $40, and then we lived on it for like 3 days. It was huge. It was like, you know, they call them the dinosaur bones. Yeah, that place is great. Cool. What did I eat? I ate at Itos Tapas, which used to be on on Capitol Hill on Summit, and then they moved to West Seattle. And my bestie moved, and her new apartment was across the street. And she's like, "Oh, do you want to try this place? I haven't tried it." And I went in, and it knocked my socks off. It's Moroccan Spanish fusion, I guess. We got croquettes, which are just balls of mashed potatoes that are deep fried, like rolled in panko and deep fried. And then they put like manchego cheese, I think, in the little mashed potato ball, and then like kind of a lemony aioli around it. It blew my mind. you get 2 of them for, I don't know, $7 or something, and I ate both of them. I didn't wait for her. I got there before she did, and I'm like, I'm not waiting for this bitch. I ate them both. I want to go back just for those croquettes. And then I got the Moorish boquerones, which are crusty bread with big fat anchovy fillet and harissa aioli and avocado and a little bit of grated, they call it angel egg instead of devil egg, because I think it's not mayonnaise, they use something else to whip the yolks. It was so fucking good. And I got a really beautiful cocktail, Itos, Ittos. And I went to Bad Chancla on Capitol Hill, which I hadn't been to in a long time. I love that. I went and talked to Jose. We're maybe talking about putting a cookbook proposal together. I help him write a cookbook. So I got the pan con machada, which is the ropa vieja basically in a sandwich, and they grill it. And I got strawberry agua fresca, which was fucking amazing on a beautiful day. And I just sat there on the sidewalk with the sun streaming in and ate my delicious little picadillo sandwich. It was incredible.
We're putting a strawberry IPA syrup cocktail on the new menu, and it's delicious.
Nice. It's strawberry season. Well, not quite. Almost. Ramping up. And then I went to Bar Bayonne, which I ended up writing my cocktail column about one of their drinks this month for the stranger. And they had jambon beurre, which is just ham and butter on really nice bread. And it had cornichons in it. It was incredible. I ate it at midnight after I was kind of half in the bag. After going to a show, I had it waiting for me at home, and I hunched over the kitchen table and just yeah. And they threw in a Rice Krispie treat that had crunched up Ritz crackers in it and brown butter and a couple chocolate chips, and it was huge. It was like a big, massive triangle. It looked like the end of the dish, but just cut like an isosceles triangle. And I threw it in my bag, and I didn't remember I had it. And me and my kind of drunk friends, we were down at the Central at a goth show. And I remembered I had it in my bag, and I pulled it out, and we were kind of hungry, and I pulled it out, and everyone was like, oh, it was so good, and we were all passing it around, and we were so excited to find it, and then I realized they had given me 2 of them, so I was able to feed a bunch of hungry goths at the Central with this amazing Rice Krispie treat with Ritz crackers and brown butter. It was amazing. So I had never been to Bar Bayonne. Sorry, go on. Uh-oh, we lost you. Paul, we can't hear you.
Sorry, I touched my phone.
He's back.
I have a confession to make, and it is I've never had an anchovy. I gotta change that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're going to have an anchovy, go out to Itos in West Seattle, because it was amazing. It's not a pickled anchovy that you put on a pizza. It's like a big, I don't know, it was like tuna, basically. Oily, but delicious on bread. I don't know. Do you like fish?
Yes.
Okay, you'll like it. And if you don't, I don't care, because you still need to try it. I thought it was delicious. It blew my mind. Do you like Spanish food? Like Mediterranean Spanish food?
I like all food.
Okay.
That's so surprising to me that you've never had an anchovy.
I've never had an anchovy.
I feel like that's something you have had to purposefully not try.
I think as a younger person, I was just scared, on pizza.
Sure,
but now I'm man, I gotta get there.
We're in about an hour now. What's that?
Should we end it with one more bad one-liner?
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, well, you asked me if I like fish, and I'm like, yes, I'm on the seafood diet.
I love that one.
Okay.
An oldie but goodie. We're at about an hour now. Jeff, do you want to call it, or do you want to talk news, or do you just want to wrap it up?
I mean, I don't have any news, but
okay.
We
we did talk about news, and then we talked about break-in.
Well, Shingletown in Ballard is closing as well. I have some news.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I never spent a lot of time there.
Right. I mean, I think one thing that's hard about, I don't know, but one thing that's hard about the industry is everybody was online talking about it, on Ballard, Reddit. But it's I wonder how many people have actually been in there in the last 5 years.
Right.
Everybody's got an opinion online, but how many people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bars have become a luxury for people who had good times and remember having good times there.
Absolutely.
5 years ago when they could afford to go to bars, and now they just can't afford it. And then the bars go away, and they're like, wait, but I had my birthday party there, and it was fun. Yeah.
you know, when we were, did I say this? I don't know if I've said this already, but when we were 25, we could drink all night and black out and do it 3 times a week and not break our wallets. And now the kids today can't do it. So that's why attendance is low. It's not feasible financially for them. You know, and our generation is aging out of being in the bar, and the younger generation can't keep up with trying to, you know, we're having a hard time filling those gaps. So I think that's what's happening.
Yeah. I know that a bar's bread and butter is cocktails. I'm a great lover of cocktails, so I don't want to suggest you shouldn't have your $20 cocktails because that's what shit costs and there's tariffs. Like, I understand it, but I'm hoping that bars will offer more options that are just in cans or, you know, batched or whatever.
The cocktails at Twist,
get those
so
people to come out.
I'm really proud. Right now, the whole new menu of Stampede cocktails are at $15, which used to be high.
That's
and
amazing.
Is now kind of low, right? Like, it happened
low.
so quickly. Like, you know, in the last couple of years, 15 went from being high to all the way to low. And I'm really proud about that. All the new cocktails are there. And at Twist of Fate, I think all the cocktails are going to be in the $11 to $13 range. I mean, if I can get away with getting
incredible.
$10. So that's like,
wow.
it's a big push for me to get Twist being very economically feasible. And
I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, you got to order at the bar because you got to get up and mingle around and meet people. I want to, you know, being a bartender in Seattle, you watch people. Like, how many times have I seen misconnections as a bartender in Seattle? So many times. I'm like, dude, you should have talked to her. You know, you should have talked to him. And with Twist, I'm really hoping that everybody's got to, like, meander around and make their way to the bar and hopefully, you know, fall in love. That's my mission statement.
That's the twist of fate. You're providing the twist of fate.
When Dusty and I left your spot yesterday, the first thing that she said and what we just continued to talk about was how we just need creative people to be in a position to, like, take the risks that you're taking by opening up spots, and, like, you know, you're somebody that's able to do it. And I hope that in the future more people that are driven by creativity and, like, passion are drawn to create more spaces like that, because I just feel like you're really kind of an example of what Fremont wants, you know. Like, I just really hope that everybody realizes, like, how sick it's going to be and that they should come down and support. But, you know, Dusty and I were just immediately like, yes, this is another example of Paul doing a great job with something. So
I appreciate that. It's going to be the hotel lobby of Fremont. You can just come in, get a drink, you know, hopefully meet somebody.
Yeah.
Sit out.
That's a perfect ending there. Thank you so much, Paul. I hadn't met you before. I'd been to your bars, but I hadn't met you before, and you're a goddamn delight. So I can't wait for Twist of Fate to open. I'll come out. I'm going to come out and try your cocktails. Maybe I can write about 1 or 2. Next week on the show, we have Taylor Cheney, Chef Taylor from Yala on Capitol Hill, who is similarly a goddamn delight, and she's going to talk about a fundraiser she's putting together for Lebanon, as well as her fascinating menu. So I can't wait to talk to her as well. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
See you next week, Jeff. Bye.